I believe that the only reason people think we can't live without money is no one's imagined a system where we do that yet.
The only way it could happen is if computers made production automatic, and then we all would get enough automatically by
I don't think that's.
We would still want to trade. I would still want to pay for something. Everybody would still want to make things. We all will always want to do something to change and then
give your
trade
value, give your meaning to your life.
and to trade.
What would motivate people to work if they weren't getting paid for money? What would their careers look
Fear
like?
of death.
Fear of death.
I don't know. Look around. That's not
Passion.
Fashion. Sure.
I feel like
imagine in industrial area in the world, whether it's England or America or something, the misery. I mean, some of these were 8-year-old kids working in that. They had no idea what, about taking a moment to enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
It was
8-year-olds were doing that in America.
They had no concept of anything other than, like, if I don't do this, I'm going to die, probably. I'm not going to be able to eat.
People
My
are
mom's
still-
not going to love me. Whatever.
Here's an example.
We have time to contemplate those things. We are doing it right now. We have time to contemplate these things, unlike any.
We're lucky.
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
lucky as hell.
And it's becoming out of specialization and the ability to not worry about, like, I want a toy. I don't have something I can produce, but I do have cash to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's given us that leisure, but it's also created misery too, right? I mean,
but the monopolies create misery right now. There would be millions of people's lives saved if Pfizer and Moderna didn't get, if they were forced to share technology. There's another point where the great slave owner Thomas Jefferson was right about. I believe he didn't think patents should last like this.
Yeah, sure.
He thought knowledge should be shared, and I think what's going on now with the COVID vaccines, the technology should be shared on how to create the vaccines.
Yeah. Well, I think it should, but there's a huge percentage of the population that don't even trust what it is,
That's insane.
and they think it's.
Isn't it to help with the population?
Well, a lot of people don't want to do it, right?
Yeah, to decrease our population.
They think it's all kinds of control elements. And they're forcing it on us, and they don't know the side effects. It's not FDA approved, and
the fears are propagated by Fox News, right wing.
Oh yeah,
because they don't want the people to have a commons. They don't want anything of the commons, including, like I say, I think the most important thing is currency, for the creation of credit to be in control of the commons, of we the people, instead of.
Oh, I think it's power. Yeah, it's an element. They don't care if they don't necessarily. They're going to get the vaccine. The people that are running Fox News and all that stuff. They don't.
But it's the same thing as 8-year-olds working for pennies for a day.
Yeah.
They can't afford.
Yeah. Yeah.
And poor people can't afford the vaccine, so they're going to die.
Those people
spreading
that propaganda need those.
And right wingers who are afraid
of
science.
those people in control of that, the right wingers of that media and the politicians need those poor people. That's why they're there.
Yeah.
And it benefits them to keep them ignorant, and spreading. I mean, I don't believe Fox News, the people that work for them, or any of that right wing stuff actually believe what they're saying. They just know
they don't.
Yeah, it's just a means to an end to keep them in power and wealthy, and they themselves will be getting the vaccine. They themselves, So, but that being said, I think there's plenty of propaganda and bullshit that comes out of the left side too. But I think it may be a little. It might be exponentially worse on the right at this point in time.
Exponentially, indeed.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot of faith in either side, but I'm leaning on the left at the moment because there's unprecedented shit going on in the world.
Yeah, as I've spoken with Nathan probably several times over the years, I used to be in college a right winger kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Ayn Rand.
Ayn Rand right winger.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
Yeah. I read it and I bought into it a little
You
while.
did too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It really appeals to.
To young rebels.
Yeah. Idealism.
Uh-huh. Or maybe not even. See, I used to think I was a young rebel too, and I just realized I really wasn't. But I had the persona that I thought I had to live up to.
Yeah, and she's a
I
piece
had
of
to
shit
be,
when you start looking at her. I mean,
Yeah.
she got social
meth head,
Medicare
isn't she?
and everything
Yeah,
else.
she got Medicare at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, lead by example, die in misery or whatever. You know, fuck her. But I mean, it's some interesting ideas, but it's not. People are fallible. I mean, you can't create a ideal system. People
do you
aren't
know that
ideal.
did you know that she testified on the House of Un-American Activities because she was a screenwriter at the time, and she gave her 2 cents about people, how bad the left wing was. People like Charlie Chaplin, who was kicked out of America because his movies
He liked
were too
14-year-old
leftist.
girls too. He had problems himself.
He what?
He liked 14-year-old girls.
I
He married
Charlie
a 14-year-old.
Chaplin.
He married a 14-year-old girl. That was his wife.
Okay.
She was 14. I mean, maybe back then it wasn't as frowned upon, but
You know, from what I've understand of history, and people, this is not appropriate to think, but it seems like it was pretty accepted back then.
probably. I
all
mean,
the
in parts of
time.
the world now, it's very accepted still, right?
Yeah,
Once you become able to make babies, you need to be put in production.
yeah.
So anyway, Ayn Rand.
Yeah. Charlie Chaplin was he's a good guy.
I love Charlie Chaplin
Yeah.
movies. The boy that I babysat all the time,
Yeah.
he loved Charlie Chaplin too.
Yeah, Buster Keaton.
Have
you
you-
ever watched much of him?
I didn't like Buster Keaton,
No.
but do you?
I don't know enough about it. The only reason I brought it up was because I think they were contemporaries.
Uh-huh.
In some of his films, he was known for the stunts he himself did. And,
Uh-huh.
I watched a clip of a cut up of all his
Flying
stunts.
out of cars,
Trains, buildings falling
through
on him.
fire.
Yeah, and it's like, fuck, that's crazy. But I think Charlie Chaplin did some of that kind of thing too. But I don't know anything about Buster Keaton aside from that.
Yeah, he was kicked out of the United States.
That
But Ayn Rand was on the House of Un-American Activities, and like I said, I was taken by her. I mean, I was really into it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember.
It's
how
not
I-
very realistic is the problem.
I think her ideas are. She's primarily a right winger. Her philosophy is to serve her political views.
Very
It's not the
libertarian.
other way around at all.
What is Greek philosopher
Plato?
Aristotle.
Aristotle? I think
Yeah.
she tried to kind of like
Uh-huh.
equate some of her.
I'm reasonable. I'm rational.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what's interesting is that's how I took a right turn away from her, perpendicular turn or whatever. Say that again. What you said?
well, I think I thought some of her the stance on her beliefs was based
Oh.
upon Aristotle's. And,
She said
reasonable and
that
rational, and
well, her
being
values.
rational about things is that
Yeah.
I don't want people to suffer, and ultimately, and me being a prick about that isn't going to help others.
She developed a way to make people think politically on the right wing. I just thought of that now. And the way she did it, though, was she put the cart before the horse, so to speak, by putting rationality in front of our inner response to truth and beauty. her values in art and music and stuff, it was, well, this is what a rational person should like, therefore you must like it. And so it puts people into that frame of mind where this is what an American is. By God, I better back Trump. That sort of a thing.
Yeah.
It's that same arbitrary way of following the iconic, what's the word? Iconographic. It's similar to that, following the definition of something rather than a natural response.
Sure.
I can say that back when, who was running for president against Obama?
Who was running for president against Obama?
Mitt Romney?
Gravel?
Well, who was his vice president? Was
Biden?
it Paul Ryan or something, or
Could have been
Who's vice president?
I can't. The vice president that was against Obama.
John McCain.
No, John McCain. Sarah Palin.
Not John McCain.
Sarah Palin.
I don't remember who it was. It was
Sarah Palin, and then the next time it was not George Romney, Romney from Utah.
John Kerry.
Well, this is a young guy I saw, but I read an article about this Republican guy, and he loved Ayn Rand. And
Ryan. He was the Speaker of the House, wasn't he?
Was that who? Yeah.
Rand Paul and his dad, his dad was a big Ayn Rand fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Paul Ryan.
No, Rand Paul's dad.
Rand Paul too. Yeah.
Rand Paul's dad. Well, Rand is named after Ayn Rand.
Yep. Yeah.
But his dad out of Texas, who's the gynecologist.
Oh, they're both nuts.
Yeah. What's his name though?
Rand Paul's father.
Yeah. Paul. It's he's a gynecologist out of Texas.
Yeah.
And he has some interesting ideas, but yeah, he's very based in
ideas,
very based in Ayn Rand.
But Paul Ryan is who he's talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And I read an article back then, and it was him talking about his Ayn Rand beliefs and what he believed. And then in the article it showed over here, Anton LaVey from the Church of Satan expressing his beliefs, his philosophy, and it was like identical to Ayn Rand's.
Sure, it's all having virtue and being okay with having an ego.
Yeah,
and that you
come first.
And yes, and you doing things that make you happy will ultimately trickle down and benefit those around you. Like if you're going to make yourself happy and better, follow your passions and create and produce, it'll help those around you. It's kind of the concept. And that by having an ego and taking pride in all that, you're going to help others ultimately.
There is great truth to that.
There is to some extent, but you don't have to be an asshole about it either.
But when you start with the premise of monopoly, a right to monopoly, and I don't think her motives were pure at all for the intellectual part that you were talking about. I think she started out with a political agenda to begin with because, well, she grew up in Russia.
Yeah.
And the Russians took away her dad's pharmacy.
Yeah.
Her dad was a pharmacist.
Yeah.
That where she got hooked on meth.
She was pissed. Yes, she was hooked on meth.
A lot of them, I think, it just was kind of a natural thing, right? Or not a natural thing, but I think meth was pretty
Hitler,
common.
JFK.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Hitler and JFK.
JFK was doing a lot of meth?
Prescribed by the doctors. He had some
sort of...
well, he was in incredible pain.
It was whatever the disease he had, it's what made him look so young.